Jake Morrison wiped the sweat from his forehead as he checked the cargo manifests on his tablet. Mars Colony Station Delta 7 was not the most exciting place to work, but someone had to keep the supplies moving between Earth and the outer mining operations. He had been doing this job for 3 years now, and every day felt the same until the alarm started screaming across the station. The red lights flashed in the control room as Amy Torres rushed to her communications panel. Her fingers flew across the controls as she tried to figure out what was happening. Jake ran to the main display screen and saw something that made his blood run cold. A small ship was falling fast toward the mining sector, trailing smoke and fire behind it. "Amy, can you contact them?" Jake asked as he watched the ship crash into the rocky surface of Mars about 2 miles from their station. "I'm trying, but they're not responding on any human frequencies," Amy said while adjusting her equipment. "Wait, I'm getting something weird. This doesn't sound like any Earth ship I know." Ryan Carter burst through the door of the control room with grease still on his hands from working on the station's power systems. "What's all the noise about?" he asked before seeing the crash site on the screen. "Oh no, that looks bad." Jake made a quick decision. "Ryan, get the emergency vehicles ready. Amy, keep trying to contact them. I'm taking a team out there to see if anyone survived." He knew the rules about first contact with alien species. But right now someone might be dying out there. The ride to the crash site took 20 minutes in the emergency rover. Jake brought Ryan and 2 other crew members with him, along with Dr. Lisa Bennett, who grabbed her medical kit when she heard about the crash. The ship was unlike anything they had ever seen before. It was smooth and curved with strange symbols painted on the side. "Be careful, everyone," Jake said as they approached the wreckage. "We don't know what we're dealing with here." Lisa was the first to spot movement inside the broken ship. "There's someone in there," she called out as she ran toward the opening in the hull. Jake followed her and they both stopped when they saw what was inside. The pilot was clearly not human. Its skin was pale blue and it had large, dark eyes that were slowly closing. Next to the pilot was something much smaller that was making soft crying sounds. It looked like a child, but it was the same blue color as the adult. "The big one is dying," Lisa said as she checked the pilot's weak pulse, "but this little one is still alive." She gently picked up the small being and felt how light and fragile it was. The adult alien tried to speak, but the sounds were nothing like human language. It pointed weakly at the child and then at Lisa before its eyes closed for the last time. "We need to get them both back to the station," Lisa said. "The little one needs medical help right away." Jake looked at the dead pilot and then at the small creature in Lisa's arms. He knew that taking alien beings to their station would break every rule in the book, but he could not just leave a child to die. "Load them both into the rover. We'll figure out what to do when we get back." The trip back to the station was tense. The alien child was getting weaker, and Lisa did her best to keep it stable with her human medical equipment. When they arrived at Delta 7, Jake ordered everyone to keep quiet about what they had found. "Lisa, take the child to the medical bay. Do whatever you can to help it," Jake said. "Ryan, help her set up anything she needs. Amy, don't report this to Earth Command yet. I need time to think." In the medical bay, Lisa worked for hours trying to understand the alien child's biology. Its body temperature was much lower than human normal, and its blood was a different color. The child seemed to be suffering from some kind of poisoning or disease that was making it weaker every hour. "Jake, I think I can help it," Lisa said after running several tests. "Its biology is different from ours, but not completely alien. I can modify some of our medical machines to work with its body chemistry." Katie Sullivan, a young maintenance worker, came to help Lisa with the technical setup. When she saw the small alien child lying on the medical bed, her heart broke. The little being looked so scared and alone. "Can it understand us?" Katie asked quietly. "I'm not sure," Lisa replied, "but look at its eyes. There's definitely intelligence there." The child looked back and forth between the 2 humans with curiosity mixed with fear. Over the next few days, Lisa worked around the clock to save the alien child's life. She had to completely redesign several medical devices to work with its unique biology. Ryan helped by building new equipment, while Amy tried to learn more about the alien, language from recordings of the pilot's final words. The breakthrough came when Katie was sitting with the child during one of Lisa's breaks. She was humming a simple tune when the alien child tried to copy the sound. Katie smiled and hummed again, and the child responded with its own version of the melody. "Lisa, you need to see this," Katie called excitedly. "I think it's trying to communicate with music." Lisa rushed back to find Katie and the alien child making soft musical sounds back and forth to each other. It was the first real communication they had achieved, and it gave Lisa hope that the child would survive. But their hope was mixed, with growing worry. Jake knew that the crash would eventually be discovered by Earth Command, or by whoever the pilot and child belonged to. Either way, their secret would not last much longer, and Jake had no idea what would happen when the truth came out. The secret lasted exactly 6 days. Jake Morrison was in his office reviewing supply reports when Amy Torres burst through the door with a look of panic on her face. She was holding a communication tablet that was flashing with urgent messages from Earth Command. "Jake, we're in serious trouble," Amy said as she handed him the tablet. "Satellite surveillance picked up the crash site and the energy signatures from our medical bay. They know we have something alien here." Jake read the messages and felt his stomach drop. Admiral Helen Brooks herself was ordering him to prepare for immediate pickup of any alien materials or beings. A ship called the UES Defender was already on its way to Mars under the command of Captain Danny Phillips. "How long do we have?" Jake asked while running his hand through his hair. 18 hours, maybe 20 if we're lucky," Amy replied. "Jake, they're treating this like a first contact situation. There are protocols we're supposed to follow." Jake walked to the medical bay where he found Lisa checking on the alien child. Over the past week, the little being had grown stronger thanks to Lisa's modified medical equipment. Katie was there too, teaching the child simple English words using pictures and gestures. "Look, Jake," Katie said with excitement. "It learned the word for water today. And yesterday it said thank you when Lisa gave it medicine." The alien child looked up at Jake with its large, dark eyes and made a soft sound that sounded almost like, "Hello." Jake felt a mix of amazement and dread. This was clearly an intelligent being, almost like a human child, but in a few hours it would be taken away by Earth Command. "Lisa, I need to know the truth about its condition," Jake said quietly. "Can it survive without our medical equipment?" Lisa's face went pale. "No, Jake, it can't. Whatever was making it sick when we found it is still in its system. It needs daily treatments with the modified machines I built. Without them, it will die within a week." "Are you absolutely sure about this?" Jake asked. "I've run every test I can think of," Lisa replied. "This child has some kind of genetic condition that's slowly killing it. My treatments are the only thing keeping it alive right now." Jake looked at the small alien being who was now trying to stack some colored blocks that Katie had given it. The child was humming the same tune that Katie had taught it on the first day. It looked so innocent and happy, not knowing that its life was about to change forever. "There's something else, Jake," Lisa said in a whisper. "I don't think this is a natural condition. The poisoning pattern suggests this child was deliberately made sick by someone." Before Jake could respond, Ryan Carter arrived with news that made everything worse. "Jake, I've been monitoring space communications like you asked. There's a massive alien fleet heading toward Mars. They'll be here in 3 days." "How massive?" Jake asked with growing dread. 50 ships, maybe more. "They're definitely military vessels and they're moving fast," Ryan replied. "I think they're looking for our little friend here." Jake gathered his senior staff in the conference room while Katie stayed with the alien child. Amy had managed to intercept some Earth Command communications that painted a clear picture of what was about to happen. "Admiral Brooks is under enormous pressure from the Planetary Defense Council," Amy explained. "They want to hand over the child immediately to avoid any conflict with the alien fleet. Captain Phillips has orders to take custody of it and meet the alien ships halfway." "That's a death sentence," Lisa said firmly. "The child can't survive away from our medical equipment." "Maybe the aliens have their own medical technology," Ryan suggested hopefully. "Maybe they do," Lisa replied. "But this child's condition is very specific. It took me days to figure out the right treatment using equipment I designed myself. Even if the aliens have advanced medicine, they might not be able to help it in time." Jake stood at the window looking out at the Martian landscape. In the distance, he could see the crash site where they had found the child. Everything had seemed so simple then. Just save a life and worry about the consequences later. Now those consequences were arriving with enough firepower to destroy their entire station. "I need to know where everyone stands," Jake said as he turned back to his staff. "Earth Command is ordering us to turn over the child. If we refuse, we'll be court-martialed for violating first contact protocols. If we comply, the child will probably die." "There's no choice here, Jake," Lisa said immediately. We can't let an innocent child die just to follow orders. I agree, said Katie from the doorway. That little being trusts us. We're the only family it has right now. The aliens might see keeping their child as an act of war, Amy pointed out. Are we willing to risk starting a conflict between species? Are we willing to let a child die to avoid that risk? Ryan countered. Because that's what we're really talking about here. Jake thought about his years of military service and all the rules and regulations he had followed without question. But he also thought about the small alien being in the next room who had learned to say, "Thank you," and who hummed Katie's songs when it was scared. I'm calling for a vote, Jake announced. All in favor of protecting the child regardless of consequences. Every hand in the room went up immediately. All opposed. No hands were raised. Then it's decided. We stay and protect our patient, Jake said with finality. Amy started to speak, but Jake held up his hand. Amy, I want you to send a message to Admiral Brooks and to the approaching alien fleet. Tell them that Mars Colony Station Delta 7 is providing medical sanctuary to a critically ill child and will not surrender it to anyone who cannot guarantee its survival. Jake, this could mean war, Amy said quietly. Then we'll face war knowing we did the right thing, Jake replied. But maybe, just maybe, someone out there will understand that some things are more important than politics and protocols. As Amy began composing the message that would change everything, Katie returned to the medical bay where the alien child was drawing pictures with colored pencils. The child showed her a drawing of blue and pink figures standing together under a yellow sun. Even without words, the message was clear. It had found a new family among the humans of Mars. Captain Danny Phillips stood on the bridge of the UES Defender, watching the alien fleet through his view screen. 50 warships hung in space like dark clouds, their weapons clearly visible and ready for battle. He had never seen anything so terrifying and beautiful at the same time. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the lead alien vessel, reported Lieutenant Bobby Chang from the communication station. Put it on speakers, Danny ordered, knowing this moment would change human history forever. The alien voice was deep and filled with anger. Even though the universal translator was working, the emotion came through clearly. Human vessel, you have taken what belongs to us. Return the child immediately or face the consequences. Danny took a deep breath before responding. This is Captain Phillips of the United Earth Ship Defender. The child you speak of is receiving critical medical care at Mars Colony. We need to discuss the situation. There is nothing to discuss, came the angry reply. You have committed an act of war by taking our young. Surrender the child now or we will take it by force. Meanwhile on Mars, Jake Morrison was watching the same conversation through their communication system. The alien child, who had started calling itself Kix when Katie asked for its name, was playing with building blocks in the medical bay, unaware of the danger approaching Jake. The alien fleet commander sounds really angry, Amy said from her station. I don't think they understand that we're trying to help the child. Keep trying to explain, Jake replied. Maybe if we can make them understand the medical situation, they'll listen to reason. Dr. Lisa Bennett was working frantically to prepare a detailed report about Kix's condition. She had documented every aspect of the child's illness and the treatments that were keeping it alive. If she could make the aliens understand the medical facts, maybe they would see that the humans were not kidnappers but caregivers. Amy, transmit Lisa's medical report to both the alien fleet and Captain Phillips, Jake ordered. Maybe science can bridge the gap where words have failed. On the UES Defender, Captain Phillips was trying his best to prevent a war. He had read the Mars colony's message about medical sanctuary and understood their position, but the alien fleet commander was not interested in listening. Fleet Commander Zorthak, Danny said, using the name the alien had provided. Please review the medical data we are transmitting. Your child is seriously ill and requires specialized treatment. You lie to cover your crimes, Zorthak responded with growing rage. Return our child or we will destroy your colony and take what is ours from the wreckage. The situation was getting worse by the minute. Captain Phillips could see that the alien ships were moving into attack formation. He had only one ship against 50, but his orders were clear. He had to protect Earth's interests and try to prevent a war. Lieutenant Chang, prepare defensive systems but do not target the alien ships, Danny ordered. We don't want to make this worse. Captain, what if they attack? Asked Bobby Chang nervously. Then we defend ourselves. But we are not starting this fight, Danny replied firmly. Back on Mars,
Kix had learned enough English to understand that something was wrong.
the little alien could sense the tension in the humans around it and had stopped playing with its toys. Katie sat beside the medical bed holding Kix's small blue hand. It's going to be okay, Katie whispered, though she wasn't sure she believed her own words. Kix looked at Katie with its large dark eyes and spoke in careful English. Bad people coming. Want hurt, Kix? We won't let anyone hurt you, Katie promised. Jake and Lisa and all of us will keep you safe. The breakthrough in communication came when Lisa realized that Kix might be able to help explain the situation to its own people. The child had been learning English quickly and could now speak in simple sentences. Kix, can you talk to your people? Lisa asked gently. Can you tell them that we are helping you, not hurting you? The small alien nodded eagerly. Kix, tell Papa. Papa very angry, but Kix explain. Amy quickly set up a direct communication link between Kix and the alien fleet. The child's small voice carried across space to the massive warships where Fleet Commander Zorthak waited. Papa, Kix okay? The child said in its own language, with Amy providing translation for the humans. Good humans make Kix better. Kix very sick, but humans fix. There was a long silence from the alien fleet before Zorthak responded. The translator showed that the fleet commander's voice had changed from anger to confusion and worry. Little Star, are you hurt? Have they harmed you? Zorthak asked in a much gentler tone. No, Papa, humans very nice. Katie teach Kix songs. Lisa make medicine for Kix. Kix almost die. But humans save, the child explained with the simple honesty that only children possess. On the bridge of the UES Defender, Captain Phillips watched his sensors as the alien fleet's weapons powered down slightly. Maybe there was hope for a peaceful solution after all, but Lieutenant Chang was young and nervous. When one of the alien ships moved closer to get a better sensor reading, Bobby interpreted it as an attack run. Without waiting for orders, he fired warning shots across the alien ship's path. The effect was immediate and disastrous. The alien fleet interpreted the warning shots as an attack and powered up all their weapon systems. Zorthak's voice came over the communication system filled with rage once again. You fire upon us while speaking of peace. This proves your deception. Prepare to face our justice. Wait, that was a mistake, Captain Phillips tried to explain, but the aliens were no longer listening. On Mars, Jake watched in horror as the situation spiraled out of control. The alien fleet was now moving toward Mars at full speed, and the UES Defender was preparing for a hopeless battle. Amy, get me a direct line to Earth Command, Jake ordered. We need every ship they can send. Jake, even if they send the entire fleet. We can't match 50 alien warships, Ryan said grimly. In the medical bay, Kix had heard the angry voices of its people and started crying. Katie held the small alien close and tried to comfort it, but they could all feel the approaching storm. Kix no want humans hurt, the child sobbed. Kix go with Papa, stop fighting? No Kix, Lisa said firmly. If you leave our medical equipment, you will die. We have to find another way. Jake Morrison stood in his command center watching two fleets prepare for battle over one small alien child. He had made his choice to protect Kix, and now he would have to live with the consequences. But looking at the innocent child who had learned to trust humans completely, Jake knew he would make the same choice again. Dr. Lisa Bennett was running another blood test on Kix when she noticed something that made her stop and stare at the results. After 3 weeks of treating the alien child, she had become familiar with every aspect of its biology, but these new readings showed something she had missed before. Jake, you need to see this right away, Lisa called over the intercom with urgency in her voice. Jake Morrison was in the command center watching the alien fleet maintain their threatening position in Mars orbit. Captain Phillips and the UES Defender were trying to serve as mediators, but the situation remained tense. Jake hurried to the medical bay where Lisa was studying her computer screen with a shocked expression. What did you find? Jake asked, as he looked at the complex medical data that meant nothing to him. Jake, I don't think Kix's illness is natural, Lisa said while pointing to specific readings on her screen. Look at these toxin levels. They're not random or accidental. Someone deliberately poisoned this child. Katie Sullivan, who was teaching Kix how to play a simple card game, looked up with horror. You mean someone tried to kill Kix on purpose? That's exactly what I mean, Lisa replied. The poison was designed specifically to attack Zeltharian biology. This wasn't an accident or a genetic condition. This was attempted murder. Kix looked confused by the serious expressions on the humans' faces. The child had learned enough English to understand that they were talking about something very important. "Kix in trouble?" the small alien asked in its careful English. "No, sweetie, you're not in trouble," Katie said gently. "But someone bad tried to hurt you before you came to us." Jake felt a cold anger building inside him as he understood what Lisa was telling him. Someone had tried to kill an innocent child, and now that same someone was probably among the alien fleet demanding Kix's return. "Lisa, are you absolutely certain about this?" Jake asked. "I've run the tests 5 times, Lisa replied. "There's no doubt. Kix was poisoned with a substance that would have killed it slowly and painfully if we hadn't intervened with our treatments." Amy Torres came running into the medical bay with news that changed everything. "Jake, I've been analyzing the communications from the alien fleet. There are 2 different factions arguing with each other. Fleet Commander Zorthak wants to negotiate, but there's another group led by someone called Sub-Commander Vex Cool who wants to attack immediately." "What are they arguing about?" Jake asked. "From what I can translate, Vex Cool is claiming that humans have brainwashed Kix and that any delay gives us more time to corrupt the child's mind," Amy explained. "But Zorthak wants to hear more of Kix's own words before making any decisions." Jake made a decision that would either save them all or get him killed. "Amy, open a direct communication channel to Fleet Commander Zorthak. I'm going to tell him the truth about his child's condition." "Jake, that's dangerous," Ryan Carter warned as he joined the group in the medical bay. "If there are people in that fleet who tried to poison Kix, they won't want the truth to come out." "Then it's time to force the truth into the open," Jake replied with determination. The communication system crackled to life with Zorthak's deep voice. "Human Commander, have you decided to surrender our child?" "Fleet Commander, I need to share critical medical information with you," Jake began. "Your child was not sick by accident. Someone deliberately poisoned Kix with a toxin designed to kill slowly." There was a long silence before Zorthak responded. "That is impossible. Kix was under the protection of my personal guard." "The evidence is clear," Lisa interrupted as she transmitted her medical data. "I can prove that this was deliberate poisoning. Someone in your own forces tried to murder your child." Another voice cut into the communication, harsh and angry. "Do not listen to their lies, Fleet Commander. The humans are trying to turn you against your own people. Sub-Commander Vexcool, you will remain silent while I consider this information," Zorthak ordered firmly. But Vexcool continued speaking. "They have corrupted the child's mind with their alien thoughts. We should destroy the colony and take what remains of Kix home for proper cleansing." Kix had been listening to the conversation and suddenly spoke up in its own language. The child's voice was small but clear, as it addressed its parent directly. Amy provided translation as Kix spoke. "Papa, the bad one speaks. Kix remembers now. Before humans, bad one give Kix special drink. Said was gift from Papa, but Papa not there. Drink made Kix very sick." The silence that followed was filled with tension. Fleet Commander Zorthak's voice, when it came, was deadly quiet. "Sub-Commander Vexcool, explain yourself." "The child lies," Vexcool responded quickly. "Human corruption has twisted its memories. We cannot trust anything it says now." "Kix no lie," the child said firmly in English, speaking directly to the communication system. "Bad one hurt Kix. Good human save Kix. Kix tell truth always." Jake could hear arguments breaking out among the alien fleet as Zorthak and Vexcool's forces began choosing sides. The situation was becoming more dangerous by the minute. "Fleet Commander," Jake said urgently, "I'm willing to come aboard your ship alone and unarmed to discuss this situation face to face. You can see for yourself how well your child has been cared for." "Jake, no," Katie protested. "It's too dangerous. If there are murderers in that fleet, they'll kill you to keep their secret safe," Lisa added with worry. But Jake had made up his mind. "Fleet Commander Zorthak, will you guarantee my safe passage to discuss your child's welfare? You would come alone to face 50 armed ships?" Zorthak asked with what sounded like surprise. "To protect an innocent child and prevent a war?" "Yes," Jake replied without hesitation. "Papa, Jake good human," Kix said in its own language. "Jake protect Kix when nobody else could. Jake tell truth always like Kix." Captain Phillips' voice came over the communication system. "Mars colony, I can provide escort for Commander Morrison if the fleet commander agrees to the meeting. There was another long pause before Zorthak spoke again. Human Jake Morrison, you have permission to board our flagship. Come alone as promised, and we will hear your truth. Fleet Commander, this is dangerous, came Vexcool's voice, now sounding desperate. If you allow contamination from human contact, the Council will demand your removal from command. The Council will demand explanations for many things, Sub-Commander, Zorthak replied coldly, including how my child came to be poisoned while under our protection. As Jake prepared to leave Mars colony for what might be the most important conversation in human history, Kix grabbed his hand with its small blue fingers. Jake, come back, the child said with worry in its large dark eyes. I'll come back, Jake promised, and when I do, maybe we can end this misunderstanding once and for all. But as Jake's transport headed toward the alien flagship, sensors detected weapons charging on several ships in Vexcool's faction. The sub-commander was not going to let the truth come out without a fight. Jake Morrison stood in the docking bay of the alien flagship, feeling smaller than he had ever felt in his life. The Zeltharian ship was massive and filled with technology he could barely understand. Fleet Commander Zorthak was even more impressive in person, standing nearly 8 feet tall with the same blue skin as Kix but covered in what appeared to be ceremonial armor. Human Jake Morrison, Zorthak said, in accented but clear English. You risk much by coming here. Your child's life is worth the risk, Jake replied simply. Zorthak studied the human for a long moment before gesturing toward a large viewing screen. Show me the evidence of what you claim. Jake activated his portable display unit and began showing Zorthak the detailed medical records that Dr. Lisa Bennett had prepared. The alien commander's expression grew darker as he reviewed each piece of evidence that proved his child had been deliberately poisoned. This toxin is known to us, Zorthak said grimly. It is used by those who oppose my policies of peace with other species. They believe that contact with aliens will weaken our race. Someone in your own fleet tried to murder your child to stop you from making peace, Jake realized. And now they demand the child's return so they can finish what they started, Zorthak added with controlled fury. Suddenly, alarms began sounding throughout the alien ship. A Zeltharian officer rushed to Zorthak and spoke rapidly in their own language. The fleet commander's face grew even darker as he listened. Sub-Commander Vexcool has declared me unfit for command, Zorthak explained to Jake. He claims that my contact with you has contaminated my judgment. 15 ships have joined his rebellion. What does that mean for us, Jake asked, though he suspected he already knew the answer. It means war, but not the war anyone expected, Zorthak replied. Vexcool intends to destroy your colony and eliminate all witnesses to his crimes, including you and my child. The battle began immediately. On Mars, Ryan Carter watched his sensors as the alien fleet split into 2 groups and began firing at each other. The loyal ships under Zorthak's command were outnumbered, but they were fighting desperately to protect both the human colony and their commander's honor. Amy, get me Captain Phillips. Jake's voice came over the communicator from the alien flagship. We need the Defender to help coordinate our defense. Captain Danny Phillips found himself in the strangest situation of his career, commanding a joint human-alien defense force against alien extremists. All units protect Mars colony at all costs, he ordered as his ship moved to intercept Vexcool's attacking vessels. On Mars, Dr. Lisa Bennett was trying to keep Kix calm, while explosions lit up the sky above them. The alien child was frightened by the sounds of battle, especially knowing that its own people were fighting each other. Kix scared, the child said while clinging to Katie Sullivan. We're all scared, Katie replied honestly, but the good people are fighting to protect you. Your Papa Jake and your Papa Zorthak are working together. Papa Jake come back, Kix asked hopefully. Papa Jake always comes back, Katie promised, hoping with all her heart that it was true. The turning point came when Katie had an idea that would change everything. Amy, can you broadcast on all frequencies to both the human and alien networks? Yes. But why? Amy asked while ducking as another explosion shook the station. Because Kix has something to say, Katie replied with determination. Within minutes, Katie and Kix were broadcasting across space to both species. The alien child spoke in both languages, switching between English and Zeltharian as it told its story with the simple honesty that only children possess. My name is Kixtar, the child began. Bad people gave Kix poison drink. Said was from Papa, but Papa not give poison to Kix. Kix almost die, but good humans save Kix life. The broadcast continued as Kix described how the humans had worked day and night to save its life, how Katie had taught it songs and games, how Lisa had built special machines just to keep it healthy, and how Jake had risked everything to protect it. Humans not take Kix like bad people say, Kix explained. Humans save Kix when nobody else could. Kix love human family. Want Papa Zorthak love human family too. The effect of the broadcast was immediate. On the Zeltharian homeworld, citizens who heard their child's testimony demanded justice for the attempted murder and peace with the humans who had saved the young one's life. Several of Vexcool's ships switched sides when their crews realized they had been lied to. But Vexcool was not finished. In desperation, he ordered his remaining ships to make a final attack on Mars colony itself. If he could not have the child back, he would make sure no one could have it. All human vessels and loyal Zeltharian ships, defend the colony, Captain Phillips ordered as he watched enemy ships break through their defensive line. The final battle was fought in the skies above Mars Colony Station Delta 7. Jake Morrison, still aboard Zorthak's flagship, coordinated the defense while Dr. Bennett and Katie protected Kix in the station's emergency shelter. The moment that ended the war came when Lieutenant Bobby Chang, the same young officer who had nearly started the conflict with his nervous warning shots, redeemed himself by piloting his fighter directly into Vexacool's command ship. The sub-commander's vessel was destroyed, and with it, the extremist faction's last hope of victory. In the aftermath, as the smoke cleared and the surviving rebel ships surrendered, Fleet Commander Zorthak stood beside Jake Morrison looking down at Mars Colony, where his child was safe and healthy. Your species fascinates me, human Jake, Zorthak said thoughtfully. You risked war to save one child who was not even your own. Any child in danger becomes our own, Jake replied. That's just who we are. The formal peace ceremonies took place 1 month later. Kix, now fully recovered thanks to Dr. Bennett's revolutionary treatments, served as the first interspecies ambassador, translating not just languages but hearts and minds between humans and Zeltharians. Katie Sullivan became the first human student in the newly established cultural exchange program, learning Zeltharian science while teaching human arts. Dr. Lisa Bennett received funding from both governments to continue her xenomedical research, potentially saving countless lives across species. Admiral Helen Brooks, who had secretly supported Mars Colony's defiance by providing them with defensive equipment, was promoted rather than court-martialed. Her willingness to risk her career for moral principles had prevented a war and established humanity's first alien alliance. Jake Morrison was appointed as the first colonial administrator for interspecies relations, but he insisted that his office remain on Mars Colony Station Delta 7, where it all began. Captain Danny Phillips became the commander of the joint human-Zeltharian patrol fleet, ensuring that extremists from either species could never again threaten the peace. And Kickstar, the small alien child whose life had changed the course of galactic history, chose to spend half its time on Mars learning about human culture, and half its time with its father Zorthak, learning about its own heritage. The child who had nearly died alone in a crashed ship now had 2 families, 2 worlds, and a future bright with possibilities. On the anniversary of first contact, Jake stood in the same spot where they had found the crashed alien ship. Beside him, Kix was teaching a group of human and Zeltharian children how to play games that mixed traditions from both cultures. Papa Jake, Kix called out happily, come play with us. Jake smiled and joined the children, thinking about how one moment of compassion had transformed fear and suspicion into friendship and hope. The universe was vast and full of unknown dangers, but it was also full of opportunities for understanding if people were brave enough to choose protection over prejudice and love over fear.